Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. We might be in for a treat. Maybe. We're going to see. We have up here Royal. You know, obviously very, very strong Terran. He hasn't been doing that well recently. He does have a single ASL championship, which was, again, in my opinion, a little bit fluky. I don't think he's actually as good as the other champions, but he is a very good Terran player for sure. But yeah, not doing super well lately. And then Rich, who's just our ladder monster, which we don't quite understand why someone would have, like, literally purchased endless accounts and then smurfed endless players and plays the ladder all day. One of the top ranked players on ladder always. Doesn't try to qualify for ASL. He's an enigma. I don't know what the hell is going on with this guy in his brain. Like, it's like an alien species that I will never understand. But him and Royal's been very active on ladder lately. I think he's trying to get back into good form. Him and Royal played a ton of games against each other lately. So we're going to look at least like a few of them, I think, and see what they're looking like. See how good they look. Excuse me. You know, Rich I would put down as like a little bit more aggressive on the aggressive side, I guess. Whereas Royal, of course, as you guys know, is an optimizer. He's much more likely to go for like some sort of like greedy build with faster armories and stuff like that. So, yeah, nice fast gas right there. Really good mining optimization. Yeah. So there you go. That's kind of what I'm looking at, and maybe it becomes a really great game because of that. Now, Rich going for Nexus first. I think Nexus first on this map is pretty good, but because the reason why it's pretty good is on 3-player maps, the rush distance is longer than close spawn 4-player maps. So basically, the best case for Terran against Nexus first is if it is a close spawn on a 4-player map, because those are the shortest rush distances that we have in StarCraft 1. 3-player maps are all in between that length and cross spawn on 4th-player map, right? So it's a little bit longer to get to. The one thing about Dominator is you have to be really, really careful. Yeah, I was about to say that it needs to be 2 Gateway or at least the Forge variant, because you have to be really, really careful. If they bust your Nexus, they get a bunker at the top of the ramp, and Dragoon range doesn't break out alone. So it can become like when I see someone do a greedy Nexus first on Dominator, I'm just like, oh, a free win, nice. Because you get to push down the Nexus, and then you have a bunker here, and you just repair it, and it's like, yeah, the Dragoons are missing half their shots from low ground and need something spotting. Like, it just doesn't work well. So we'll see. A single Zealot being made. We'll see if he pops another one or not. Looking over. Oh. Okay, so I'm not too surprised to see that Royal's not going to try to punish. I mean, he's such an optimizer that he probably looks at this and says, I can actually still get my economy equal with them, which he's probably right. He's probably right. Like, Nexus busts are not as popular as they were. People have figured out a little bit better how to play against Nexus first, but there are situations that are still, like, just completely unsolved. Like, Nexus first and cross spawn is literally completely unsolved. Flash calls it the strongest strategy in the entire game in the history of StarCraft. And he is correct. He is correct. It's just like, I've talked to the top pros. They don't really have an answer. It's just like, wow, Protoss is really far ahead. And this, again, this isn't quite exactly cross spawn. It's a 3-player map. It's a bit different. So we'll see how this goes down. Mines on the way. Royal going to have that command center up pretty quickly here. Oh, a second factory. Okay. I like to see this from Royal. I like second factory builds against Nexus first right now. I think it's a good way to play. It gives you a little bit more flexibility because you're not really sure what they're going to do. And I will tell you one thing, like if Rich rushes into Reaver from here, if you go 1 factory armory, eBay, second factory, it's actually pretty hard to cover this main base. Like, how many turrets do you need? Like, you could do tight turrets. Maybe you could get away with 4 turrets. Most maps, it's 3. But 4 would be hard to do it with still, and you just don't have that many units. Sometimes the 2 factory play allows you to clear Reaver a little bit better. Just because you have enough units to actually fight the Reavers when they come out. Whereas you have to be really precise with 1 factory. Because you have something like 2 Vultures and 3 Marines and 2 Siege Tanks or something like that, right? It's like, it gets really difficult. Either way, this is just Observer coming up for Rich. Pylon on the side. We'll see what he ends up doing with that. Whether that's just like a scouting pylon or he wants to add something later. This type of area has become very popular. We've seen it here. We've seen it there. People were making fun of me when I was saying, ooh, I like that armory position. I've actually been using it a lot now. It's really good. You don't lose your armory to stupid drops or recalls anymore. Excuse me. Okay, so Reaver Tech is coming for Rich. Over on Royal's side, he has gotten speed quickly, which is very good. Range almost done here for these Dragoons. And we'll see how quickly Rich tries to take his 3rd base. Because that's one of I've said this quite a few times, but like the strongest thing about Nexus First is the 3rd base. Like 2 base, when you're sitting on 2 base with Nexus First, it's like, okay, defensively you're good, but 2 base is just not scary. Getting 3 base really fast and getting that gateway count up, now that's scary. So he's going to clear these mines. But this is not a particularly fast 3rd. Even if he throws the Nexus down right now, this is not particularly fast. You don't look at this and say, uh-oh. Vulture's running in. He was looking to see if a probe was following them. It wasn't. He was just clearing. Lots of Dragoons over here. You can see he was kind of going for an anti-drop play. But now that his Observer's up here, he's kind of figured out, like, oh, this doesn't look like drop. Okay. Picks up a probe. He's just going to transport the probe up here to make the Nexus because the Speed Vultures are on patrol right now trying to pick off any probes trying to take a base. But yeah, this is, like, if you just went Gateway expansion, like, you know, Dragoon expand into Observer, you'll have your 3rd Nexus up before this. So this is a pretty slow 3rd base for Nexus First. Rich has played this quite defensively and quite timidly. You can't, like, completely blame him. You know, there's kind of mines everywhere. He's trying to be careful. You know, if he's out there clearing things and a drop comes in, he can be really heavily punished. So I kind of get it. 2 more factories coming up here for Royal. Just kind of clearing his area of all of the mines. And here comes the shuttle. He's waiting for shuttle speed to fly in. He has the Observer checking the edges. He sees where all these mines are. Really well-placed mines. Brings the Siege Tank up. Has extra Vultures. Good attempted pullback, but the other Vultures body blocked, and he lost 3 to 1 Scarab instead of 1 if he had just sat there. So that's a little bit painful, but it's okay. Not the end of the world. Royal actually has more workers right now. Oh, I actually didn't even recognize that his 3rd was already done. So he is actually sending those there. He's going to have his 3rd mining, like, basically the same time as Rich. You can see, right? This is the optimizer style of Royal, and he's doing a very good job of it. But the Reaver definitely can make problems. So he's going to go after the Siege Tank really quickly, and he is going to get the pick. Okay, only gets 1 there. Missile turret about to finish. Yeah, he's just going to get out. He doesn't have anything else to suck up damage with that shuttle anyways. Okay, so here's my assessment. I think that Royal way out-opened Rich, even though Rich got away with the Nexus First, and it was a pretty greedy Nexus First. Now, that being said, carriers are going to be on the way. Let's check. Yeah, comsats are being made right now. So this is literally perfect timing for this. If he had gone for these earlier, imagine this comsat timing, how late that would be. Like, if he had gone 2 base carrier. But he's gone 3rd Nexus into carrier, which kind of allows Royal's really well-optimized build. Look at this. He's already on 65 SCVs. He doesn't need any more SCVs. We just heard the scan, and he sees Stargate on the way. So he knows literally exactly what's going on. Watch. So what's happening here, this is an old bug. It was only banned in WCG. But if you put a something exactly on top of the missile turret, an observer. But you can do this with other things. Observer's just the common one, because Terran oftentimes didn't have other flying units at this time. It won't shoot because it's directly above. But if you spam S, it'll eventually get a missile out, and then it'll just continually shoot. Excuse me. And sometimes you have like a lot of missiles going around, but it'll clear it once you get it to shoot once. So just a little funny bug. You might remember Queen did this. I believe it was Queen did it with a Mutalisk during some harassment one game, and I was losing my mind. First time I've ever seen that. Seen the Observer one 1 trillion times. All the time. When that first came out, man, no one didn't do it. And WCG banned it, and Stork did it in a game, and Tasteless went and reported it, and they didn't care. It was kind of the vibe was, well, Stork's going to win no matter what. And it's like, probably not the way to do it, but okay. All right, let's look at these positions. So he's gone up to 3 Stargate despite being scanned. So what Royal should do here is hit his factories and do a push. His upgrades are only +1. In fact, we don't even have +1 armor on the way, which is a little bit weird. I feel like that should have been on the way. But he's going to have to try to hit a timing push here, which is difficult if Rich does this correctly, which could be retreating between high ground pizza slices. It could be counterattacking. There's a couple different ways that you can approach this. But yeah, Nexus first into carrier, very, very difficult to deal with because you can see the supply of Rich is actually higher still. So he has an army that can kind of fight, and you're like kind of fighting uphill here. You can see where he's taking this engage. He's forcing the siege, and now he should pull back. He decides not to pull back and to just fight against mass siege tanks. Slow Zealots walking up, drops out the Reavers, and they get targeted down. But, like, he'll still just clear everything. Well, three carriers are out. He killed, like, basically all the siege tanks, and we have 2 add-ons only. So just heavy Dragoon production is going to be really, really strong here. Of course, as I say that, he just keeps making slow Zealots. And do we even have a Citadel? Nope. I mean, this is far from perfect, but I think Rich is going to win anyways. You know, like I've said, like no one has an answer for Nexus first into carriers. It's just mathematically so difficult to deal with. But Royal has optimized really well, so he still has a little bit of a chance here, especially considering it's mass slow Zealots coming out, which doesn't make sense. Like, you cleared all the siege tanks, so there's not enough siege tanks to obliterate goons. Like, imagine if that was 10 more goons out here. He clears this so quickly. Instead, it's slow Zealots that literally can't even deal damage. It's like, out of 8 slow Zealots, like, they got 3 hits off. All right, Rich still making slow Zealots with no Citadel. Just marching them towards their death. It's not like he's missing gas, by the way, so don't try to think that, oh, he was saving his gas for carriers. That's not the case. All right, finally some more Dragoons are going to be coming out since I guess he lost all of them so far. Vultures getting some probe kills in here, big deal. The carriers will end up clearing all this, and 3 more popped out. So he's going to have 6 carriers, but very small as far as ground army goes, and he is on only 3 bases. Excuse me, a new base coming up as well. I'm actually not sure, like, this still could go either way. I think Rich is going to pull it out. I have to say, I'm like, you can probably hear it in my voice and whatnot, but like, I am pretty disappointed with a lot of what we've seen here from Rich. Like, this was far from what I would call well done. And Like, he might just win anyways, like on the back of how strong the overall strategy is. But, like, really some bad engages. The fact that he was making, like, how many slow zealots did he even make this game? He's just literally walking slow zealots towards his opponent. Plenty of money for Dragoons. Dragoons do take 7 seconds longer to make, okay. But when you cleared all of their siege tanks and they're attacking you with 4 siege tanks aren't going to help you against 16 goons. Whereas slow zealots at this point in the game literally don't do anything. They actually don't do anything. They just don't connect. It's like if you have zealot legs, I'm like, okay, we have something here. But he's like just walking forward with slow zealots over and over and over. It's like a complete lack of understanding. All right, looks like he's going kind of for a frontal push. This is a really good Cloud of Goliaths that we're having here. I want to see what the actual upgrades are here. Okay, so just +1. He has +2 on the way. Royal over here still hasn't gone for additional upgrades. He's just sitting on that +1, which is, it's okay. He's kind of in this position where he has to win soon. Or, you know, if he's eliminating carriers consistently, then he doesn't necessarily need to win soon. But if the carrier count continues to grow, he does. So new base up here for Royal, kind of the easy one to take. Looks like maybe he's thinking about adding some more missile turrets. You do have to be careful. If the carriers get into this area, it can be very difficult to hold them off. You kind of have to counterattack and make them pull out, kind of like Mutalisks. All right, Royal moving back. He does have a lot more supply right now. Six carriers are out and 3 more, so that's 9. 9 carriers were getting up to levels where it's like the cost efficiency just is insane. Insane. You need like 24 Goliaths with 2-1 to feel like you can fight against this. And then he's got this ground army as well. So the longer we kind of sit here, even though, again, it's like there's more supply for oil, it's felt like he's been playing better than Rich. But Rich's carrier count is getting very high. And that's like a win condition. It's kind of like, you know, Ultras with Carapace or something where it's like, yeah, there's not there's not a lot left here for Terran. All right. This, like, he's made a lot of missile turrets in preparation for this because this is a common move on Dominator if people get a lot of carriers. So coming down, he's going to start hitting this army a little bit. He's picking off siege tanks specifically. That's a good thing to do because the Dragoons will just destroy the Goliaths. Should pull back. Okay, this is a good pullback from Rich. Lost a lot of interceptors there. Not making more carriers. He really, the fact that he doesn't have a Citadel yet, like he's got 1900 gas, this is the type of situation where you make Archons and or try to get in some Psystorm, even though his economy is garbage. All right, he's picking off the siege tanks while the Dragoons are up here. Now, the Dragoons are not adding a ton, but they are hitting the Goliaths a little bit. So as he picks off the siege tanks, the goons become stronger and stronger. And in fact, I think that's just going to be game. You just don't have the units to pull through here. Yeah, I think we're just going to see a GG out of Royal. Although we should just see him leave the game. And I'm going to, as this ends, I'm going to explain why this is considered so strong so people understand. GG. Okay, so attacking people during transitions is one of the most important theories in StarCraft. Okay, you're saving money to do something, right? So, like, when do you see a lot of Terran versus Zerg? Here, I'm going to turn the music off so I can just talk for a second. When do you see a lot of Terran versus Zerg? Like, oh, when they get their lurker upgrade going, right? Before they have lurkers, like, you might be able to bust them, right? Or maybe even if you do a quicker attack, it might be right before the mutas come out, right? That's a normal time to try to attack Zerg. Okay. Against Protoss, the only real transition that Protoss has is into carriers because they're very expensive. They take a while to make and they cost a lot of supply. right? Other than that, like Protoss is just consistently producing and just always has a big army. So like even if they're going Arbiter, they still have a pretty big army. You know, obviously there's going to be a power spike as the Arbiters are ready and everything. So sometimes you'll see an attack in that time, but like specifically for carriers, right? Six supply per. So like, let's say that we're both maxed, but you have 3 carriers making. It's like, well, that's a perfect attack timing because you're missing 18 supply. That would be 9 extra gateway units that you could have. Now, the problem when playing against Nexus first into this, so let's jump back. Nexus first jumpstarts your economy really, really hard. So you actually don't really get down in supply against your opponent when you're going carriers. And that's when Terran needs to try to kill someone that's going carriers. So let's go up, try to get to the time of carriers. Now, look at this, for instance, okay? Like I was mentioning, okay, he got his third base mining at about the same time. And he actually was up, Royal was up in workers for a lot of the game against Nexus first, which isn't super common, but it can happen in these situations. Okay, so he's like macroing really, really, really well. Is down in supply. Right, Reaver comes in, doesn't really get anything done. But you'll notice how the supply stays really, really high comparatively. Okay, and don't forget, he's down 6 workers here, so, you know, he's up over 20 supply. Carriers haven't started yet. He scans. He sees that it's going to be carriers. Right? And he's going to get more factories going because of this. And we'll see once the carriers get started here. Okay, so in regular games, the best attack timing will be for the next 2 minutes, let's call it. Okay, somewhere in the next 2 minutes. But look at the supply, 160, 124. Okay, 124. I mean, that. Look at the Terran army. 8 siege tanks. Okay, we got 7 Goliaths, 7 volts. Maybe there's a volt on the map or something. Here's one, 8 volts. You know, obviously that one's not coming home. Whereas you look at this and it's like, okay, this is a lot of units. This is a lot of units. You can't attack with this yet. You need to actually hit a critical mass. But where do you hit the critical mass when the carriers are coming out, when you're playing against a Nexus first opener? And this is the problem. This is why this is considered so strong. And I have literally asked Light in real life about stuff like this. And he's like, there isn't an answer. Still, up 20 supply. It's like, okay, we're getting higher. But like even this is all these tanks are going to siege in a minute here, and he's just going to engage anyways. Like, okay, we have some more supply right now for Terran. Like he's catching up kind of. A lot of this is still being made. Right, a lot of this is rallying out. You would think that as he's siege, he has to turn around. Kill those Reavers immediately, and then the slow Zealots just walk up on the tanks. And from here, this should be an easy victory for Protoss. And Rich actually really messed this up. Okay, like he has this group of goons, and he is making Zealots. He never made a Citadel this entire game. But not only does he make this group of Zealots, he's going to make more afterwards. And he just killed every tank. He's playing against 2 siege tanks. He's like, look at this. Look at this. This is just not the way to do it. If these are all Dragoons, you pummel these mines down, you kill all the tanks, you kill everything. So like this should have been way more one-sided than it was, but it was honestly poorly played by Rich. Anyways, I don't want to sound too salty about it, but like this is the reality of Nexus first into carrier. Hope that you guys enjoyed the game regardless. Let me know what you think in the comments if you disagree with me. I know there's always a few crazy people that disagree with me, but yeah, let me know if you figured something out that the entire Terran population has not. Thank you for watching. See you next time.